Welcome to the Pet Loss Journals podcast. I am your host Louise. This podcast is all about the reality and impact pet loss has on our lives, and I will be discussing my personal journey through pet loss. So if you are struggling on your own pet loss journey, then this is the podcast for you. Hello, welcome to episode 43. 43 episodes. Wow, it's quite a lot. I'm shocked when I say that. But thank you for listening if you have listened since the very beginning, which is pretty much a year ago now that I started this wonderful podcast. Just over a year ago, and it's been a journey. And I'm sure that you have, when listening along, have noticed the journey that I've been on. And I would love to share a little bit more with you today, really. So this journal entry is from the 24th of December 2022. Christmas Eve. So here we go. Well, the year is nearly over. It's been a tough month and a fun month, all thrown in one. I have had extremely bad anxiety, and that's been really, really difficult. But that being said, my dogs are always guiding me on this incredible path. This new path for 2023 is going to be so different, so inspiring, so fulfilling, and I know it. I know it with all my soul. Their healing energy is always keeping me focused on my dreams, to raise as much awareness about pet loss as I possibly can and help as many grieving pet parents as I possibly can. I know deep down I can do it. From the pain I suffered will come motivation to help others that are in the position I once was. My new life is just around the corner. It's within reach now. Those 3 beautiful, brave ladies were the beginning, and I am confident, I am capable, I am ready. I love you both with everything I am. Thank you for guiding me in the right direction. And that is this week's journal entry. Let me explain the ending. I love you both with everything I am. Of course, I'm signing off that journal entry by saying I love my 2 dogs. And I suppose on some of the journal entries in the past, I definitely would have signed off my journal entries to my dogs, and a lot of the time I was writing to them, and that is the first time I believe that I've shared one of my sign-offs at the end of a journal entry with you, the listeners, and because I always wanted to kind of keep that special for me. But I really believe on this final journal entry for 2022 that it was really special to read that out, because through this journal entry you can see how grateful that I was that my dogs are always guiding me, and that I believe that their energy is always keeping me focused on my dreams, and I'm always reaching into my heart for a piece of unconditional love that they had given me when they were alive. And I think it's really important to share that with you, and I'm happy to share that with you. I've shared so much over the 43 episodes, and I think that to hell with it, I'm going to share that bit that I always kind of kept back. But towards the end of that journal entry as well, you would have heard that I mentioned those 3 beautiful, brave ladies were the beginning. What does that mean, you're wondering? Well, on the previous episode, I would have shared that I had been in the middle of my pilot group for the Grief Recovery Method program that I run, and it was 3 beautiful ladies that were my first clients, and I was meeting them weekly on video call, and they were just so brave, and they had never done something like that before. It was my first time guiding people through the method, through the program, the Grief Recovery Method program, and those 3 wonderful ladies will forever be in my heart. They may be listening now, they may not, but they are such a crucial and special part of this journey to me, and hold a very dear part of my heart, really, because they were the beginning of this beautiful small little Irish business that I have. And I think that everything starts from somewhere, and that was it for me. Those 3 wonderful ladies, very, very brave ladies to open their heart to healing, even though it's scary. But I think within that journal entry, it was obvious that I had an up and down month, and that I was still suffering from anxiety at that stage, and that's okay as well, that was okay. But I definitely feel that I was in more of a confident space, in more of a space where I was able to connect with my dog's memory, their energy. I was able to do that, whereas in the earlier episodes, I was just constantly focused on the events, the last few days, that they were alive, and just tormented by it, and I couldn't see out of that. I couldn't see, above or below that. I was just stuck in the middle of that all the time. I couldn't feel their energy. I didn't know how to connect with them. None of that. I just felt empty. I felt numb. I felt like, what am I actually supposed to do with my life now? It was just like standing still in time, yet I'm still having to work and live my life and go food shopping, but inside, in my heart, in my mind, it was like I was standing still, and it's just so painful. And I'm talking to anybody now who may be feeling that way. No matter what stage you're at, no matter when you lost your pet, it's like time stands still. And if you're feeling that, it's so normal to feel that way. And a lot of people kind of ask me a lot of questions, and they say, is this normal, Louise? Is this normal? And I think, what is normal? Everybody's grieving process is completely different. But of course there are commonalities in everything. There's the main ones, if I was to list them out, would be social anxiety, that you may not have had a huge amount of before. There is feeling like you have a lack of purpose in life, extreme trouble concentrating on easy daily tasks that you wouldn't have had a problem with before, just utter deep sadness and hopelessness, and a feeling of like a dark cloud over your head a lot of the day. These feelings are normal, and I can go on, and I just, panic attacks, severe anxiety attacks, PTSD, these things come hand in hand with grief. That's what a lot of what I experienced. And not everybody experiences all of those things. Some people experience one of those things. But what I want you to know is just to be gentle with yourself, and know that, this isn't a medical diagnosis. If you're worried about If you're worried about your panic attacks or your PTSD, definitely see a doctor, see a mental health professional. Definitely do that. I mean, only you know your body best. And because panic attacks and PTSD was not something I was experiencing before the death of my dogs, I knew that it was directly related to the grief, to the death, and to the events of what happened. I knew that, but if that's not the case for you and you were experiencing it before that, it's best to just speak to a medical professional or a mental health professional. That would be my advice. But sometimes a lot of people that I speak to get shocked at the fact that you can experience such intense, some people call them mental health conditions, from a grief experience, from a loss experience, and that can be shocking. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that this was happening to me, to my body. I just said, this is not normal. Like, is it? Like, should I be going to hospital? I had so many questions. And only you know best. Only you know best your body. And what you had experienced before to what you're experiencing now. What's different now following the loss experience to maybe other experiences, difficult experiences that you went through before. So it's and sometimes, like, I kind of find that once I've been reading all of these journal entries for you each week, what I've seen through them is that I was kind of documenting my emotional and physical responses and symptoms of that loss experience over the days and weeks that I wrote in the journals. And I could definitely see how some weeks were really difficult. And then, you know, as the weeks and months went on and I learned more about grief, I sought some help, some support, and I did the grief recovery method. And once that went on, like, I wasn't writing that I was having PTSD anymore, or flashbacks, or very many panic attacks anymore. And that's really comforting for me to read, but also hope that it's comforting for you to listen to know that these symptoms and responses don't last forever. But, and I'm going to put a but in here, only if you learn how to sit and give space, sit with and give space to your grief. Because the more symptoms that you experience, responses to grief, and if you start to become ill and unwell, your body is crying out to you to sit still, to be present and feel this grief. It's nearly screaming by the sickness and the illness and all of the panic attacks. It is screaming at you to please sit still and feel this emotion, release this emotion, feel this pain. I know that it is incredibly painful. It's debilitating to sit with that and feel it. And we want to do the opposite. We want to run, we want to distract, we want to numb with alcohol, with binge watching series on Netflix, with doom scrolling on our phone, with whatever we can do to get ourselves away from that, to not be present, to not be quiet in our mind, to not be with our grief. We will do anything to try and numb that pain. It is a natural protective response that we have been conditioned to do and have learned since we were very, very young. And please be gentle on yourself with that, knowing that that is a normal thing to do, that we do that as a protection mode, because our brain cannot take that much trauma, that much pain, that much grief. It cannot handle it. And I just feel very passionate about this particular subject about sitting, trying to be present. And this isn't about meditating. It's not what I'm talking about. It's just about being quiet with yourself. Going into your bedroom alone and closing the door, and just with no phone, with no screens, and tuning in to what your body needs. That's what this is about. And more often than not, when you do that, when you sit in your bedroom or lie in your bed without any screens, music, nothing, and you just close your eyes and just put your hand on your heart and tune into your body, sometimes, more often than not, some emotion will start to arise. And for me, tears will just come, because my body is like, finally, she has just stopped and was able to be still for us, for me, my body, for us to just let out this emotion. And I get a wave of guilt then when that happens, because I feel like I didn't honour what my heart, body, what my soul needed, was this time to grieve a little on my own. And I do feel emotional talking about it, because I didn't allow myself to do that for so many weeks and months and a couple of years. I didn't allow myself to do that. I just was running from the pain. If you're resonating with this at all, huge hugs, and my heart is with you, because it's so painful. And there aren't enough words to describe the level of pain. So I just want you to sit with that, to sit with what I've just shared with you, what I've just kind of described, and see if that is something that you can do for yourself this week. Is that something you can gift yourself this week? If you do anything for yourself, and people harp on about self-care all of the time, and it can be very bombarding and overwhelming, but if that is something that you can do for yourself this week, please do it for yourself, no matter what stage you're at in your pet loss journey. Just doing that is incredibly, like, you're being grateful for your body. Your body is getting you through this intense emotional pain that is invisible to everybody else around you. This pain is not visible to them, if you think about it that way, and you are suffering internally in silence a lot of the time. So if you are planning to gift yourself that space and that private, personal time, so that you can be present with your body, with your soul, with your heart, and listen to it and what it needs, I am so proud of you if you're planning to do that. Because when you do that practice, there isn't a name for it. It's just something that I started to do. It isn't any special meditation or practice or anything. It's not even I didn't hear about it anywhere. It's just something that I started to do. And often when the tears come for me, when I am quiet with myself and present and the tears come, I wrap both of my arms around myself as if I'm giving myself a hug. If I'm lying down on my bed and if I'm crying, I wrap my arms around myself and I just gently say to myself, it's okay, I'm safe. And I'm nearly speaking to my heart that's broken. I'm nearly speaking to different parts of my body that are experiencing pain or tension, and the grief that is just within every cell in my body. I'm speaking to that. I'm like, you're okay. Now it's okay to cry, and I keep reassuring myself. I don't pressure myself. I don't put myself down. And I just do that for a couple of minutes. And I nearly cradle myself and comfort myself, parent myself, whatever term that you want to use. And sometimes we can get comfort from others, of course, our partner, our best friends, and our family. But I feel that really having this time just alone with you can be even more comforting, even more powerful, even more healing. And done a couple of times a week can be huge for you. And it sounds so simple, but I mean, what have you got to lose? Try it. Just try it out. I've loved sharing that with you because it was a very special part of my healing journey. And some people might be like, oh, that's a bit cuckoo for me, and I can't be alone with my thoughts, and that's okay. And what I say to those people, and I feel for those people, because they're still in that running mode, they're in that suppressing mode. They're not letting themselves grieve and feel that grief, because believe me, eventually it'll demand to be felt in the most inconvenient times, to be honest. And that's what eventually happens if we don't start to tune in and listen to what our heart and our body needs. And I think that that's a really important message that I wanted to get across and share with all of you listening. But yeah, I think the journal entry, I hope, shows that there is growth, there is possibility, there are new adventures after an incredibly painful loss experience. And I know that I've said that a lot before, but I hope that this journal entry really, really highlights that for whoever's listening now, that I always speak about my dogs and their energy and their love, and I love to do that because that's the truth. Because I wouldn't be talking on this podcast right now if it wasn't for the experience that I went through. I was not planning at all of ever sharing any of my private, personal journal entries with anybody. I wouldn't show my partner, my friends, nobody. They were always incredibly private to me and my deepest, darkest thoughts and feelings. But because not many people in the world talk about this topic and this subject, it's such a damn shame that that's the case. And because so many people are laughed at, and so many people are judged and criticised. This is why I record these episodes. This is why I started this. And I'm happy to share those with you. If it makes you feel less alone, just for a couple of moments in your day, then it's worth it for me to share this private information about my life. And if I was to even look back, even 12 months ago, my life changed dramatically, my personal life, and I was working in a job where I was just also starting this little business, and I received such hurtful and terrible comments from people within that job at the time, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart that people could say that when all someone is trying to do is to reach people in different parts of the world so that they don't feel so alone. And ever since I started the business, I've had a lot of difficult situations and comments and hurtful things that have happened to me, from family, from work colleagues and strangers, and it's been a tough road, but I've not let it stop me record these episodes. I've not let it stop me talking on Instagram stories and producing and helpful content online, and designing my new pet loss workshops, recording lovely pet loss meditations for all of you. And I've just wanted to keep going. And I want you to know that if you've received any hurtful comments from people in your life, I want you to know that happens to me too. And I can still keep going. And I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. But take that pain and put it into something that you're passionate about, whatever that may be. Just taking those hurtful comments and firing it at something that you're passionate at. That is what I do. And I want you to know that you can do that as well. You can do that too, with whatever you're passionate about, because I'm a deeply sensitive person, and sensitivity, I feel, is my superpower. And I have been told that, oh, you're too sensitive, Louise. That it's a negative thing, in a negative way, that I should toughen myself up. But if I wasn't sensitive, then I wouldn't have done any of this. I wouldn't have released these episodes or started this business, because sensitivity is a superpower. It's a positive thing. You have self-awareness. You are empathetic. You are compassionate. That is what being sensitive is all about. If you are a person who has ever been told this, oh, stop being so sensitive, if that is something that boils your blood, and if you're listening now and you're like, Louise, I don't know how many times somebody has said that to me, or people have said that to me, I want you to know that it is an amazing thing. It's a positive, beautiful thing to be sensitive. To be able to be in touch with your emotions, to be vulnerable, to be able to express how you're feeling. That's being sensitive. Sensitive isn't a bad thing. So I think that's a good message that I wanted to get across. Little bit off topic towards the end of my episode there, but I think that, look, that's the way that these episodes go. And I am just grateful to each and every one of you. Whether you've reached out to me and messaged me about these episodes, or whether you haven't and you're still a listener, I want to say thank you to you. And I want to say you're so brave. You are not alone. You are just not alone. So many other people experience what you're experiencing. You're not crazy. You don't deserve to be spoken to in a judgy way, in a way that isn't coming from a place of kindness and compassion. You deserve support. You deserve love during this horrific, painful time of loss that you're going through. That's what you deserve. And comfort. So yeah, I think it's one of my longer episodes. It's getting on a little bit now, but I do love recording these. I mean, I really, really do. And I think for next week's episode, I'm going to share what I have learned in 2022. So it's going to be like a big recap of the year 2022 when I was writing all of these journal entries, and I think that's going to be something interesting for you to listen to. Also something for you to reflect on and journal on yourself, and however long that you're in this journey for at the minute yourself. But so try my suggestion, the practice that I mentioned earlier, and try a little bit of journaling if you can, even if it's for 5 minutes. Just write whatever comes up. It doesn't even have to be about pet loss. It doesn't have to be whatever you feel comes out on the paper, pen to paper. Yeah, and I think, I forgot to mention, I was about to say, I'm going to go now, goodbye. In 4 weeks' time, I am running the final 6-week pet loss support group program. This is the grief recovery method program that I harp on about. I'm running just one more for the end of the year, and there won't be any till early next year again. So it's starting in 4 weeks' time. It'll be Wednesday evenings, 7 p.m. Irish time, for approximately an hour. Every week on Zoom. I post you out all of the program materials, the handbook that you'll work off, and all the program materials you'll receive by post before the program starts. And it's a very small group. I only do small groups online, and this just means that you'll get enough time to share your feelings and to share your homework tasks, because there's assignments every week as well. That's why it's such a great focus to have if you are a fixer, if you want to have a goal that I just want to start feeling better now. I just want to learn how to process this in a healthy way because I don't know how to do that. Then this is the program for you. But there has been so many others that have done this program that I've guided through the program. If you need any more information, everything now is on my website. It'll be linked in the show notes, but there are lots of snippets of what others have thought of the program on my website as well, for you to read at your leisure and to get a sense of how they felt doing it, and it'll just kind of give you a sense of what it's like. And there's lots more information there on the website. There's plenty of time to sign up still, and I think that it's just the last one I'll be doing this year because there's only one of me, and I just kind of feel that there's only so many hours in the day, and I have one-to-one clients, and this is just the last group that I could fit in for the rest of the year. But that is why I created the pet loss workshops, for you to work on in your own time, self-paced. Everything is there on the website for you to view. So if the dates and the times, they don't work for you for the program, there are other options, but that's okay. And it's okay if you just enjoy this podcast, because I'm delighted that you're here listening. I would love to hear if any of you tried that practice that I mentioned in this podcast. Please, please, please either send me a message on Instagram or send me an email. That's info@lightafterloss.ie, and just let me know if you tried it, even if you tried it once during the week. I would love to hear how it felt for you. I'm always open to receiving any feedback, comments, or any ideas for any bonus episodes in the future. I would love to hear from you. So yeah, look, take care until next time. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this week's episode. Remember, your pet loss grief is real and it is so valid. Please be gentle on yourself. Until next time, take care.